person
I agree with you. Vicky,
yeah.
what do you think? Like that.
So for
Okay lah.
me, I think inner critic is a way that you judge yourself or you evaluate yourself, but in a not that healthy.
everyone. So welcome back to our podcast. So it's called Talkie Talkie Time. It was started by our Student Development and Counselling Department. So firstly, I'd like to say that this is a collaborative effort with Student Affairs and Alumni, Student Development and Counselling Department, as well as UCSI Radio. So thank you to everyone behind the scenes who's been helping with the camera work and also the audio. So thank you guys. So the purpose of this podcast is that we like to address common issues that are faced by our students here in university or just generally university students. So just to introduce myself, my name is Miss Win. I'm one of the counselors here at UCSI, and my experience is that previously I worked with children as well as with young adults and also adults around in their 20s to their 40s. With kids, I worked with primary school kids, so it was more like group counselling, teaching them how to manage their emotions. And with adults, it's also kind of like that as well, but it's more complicated problems because, adults have, all kinds of issues, right? So that's my experience, but I like to introduce my guests for today. So my two guests are actually part of our department as well, our counselling department. So there's Miss Farha, who is the head of our counselling department, and also Miss Nikki, who is one of our counsellors alongside with me as well. But I'd like them to introduce themselves because maybe they have more to add. So let's start with Miss Farha.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Miss Farha, Head of Student Development and Counselling Department. Okay, so if I want to share about my experiences, right? So I think I start with internship part, right? So I went to experience in Henry Gurney School. Henry Gurney School, for those who don't know, Henry Gurney School is like more on for those who have juvenile offenders, that kind of a lot of crime, addiction, there's a drug dealer, a lot of things that they did under 18 years old. Okay, Henry Green School. So a lot of things also I learned from there to manage that kind of cases lah, basically. So but in terms of the coping is very limited because you are in cell or inmate, right? You are living in that kind of particular place. Okay, and then after that I'm moving out to my first job was in a psychological center. So I deal a lot of variety of cases lah, basically mental health, children sometimes, and also I think if psychological center is more on like childhood trauma, like work career development, and also after that moving forward, I experience in college. Okay, so students, okay, dealing with the students same as a UCSI, dealing with the students a lot of relationship issues, and then a lot of addiction issues, a lot of academic concern issues, alright. And then moving forward, I moved to Ministry of Health. So KKM lah, Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia. And I think these experiences is the most and the best that I had because it's work with a clinic setting, right? Yeah. Hospital setting. So based on the cases also is very challenging. So sometimes out of like schizophrenia, sometimes we handle also mild schizophrenia, we handle like bipolar disorder, we handle like depression, we call it depressive
major depressive
disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. So a lot of disorder that already diagnosed by the doctor. So we need to do a therapy session for them. So I think it's the best experiences, even though I don't have that enough knowledge, but then the government give a lot of training lah for me to cope with it. Okay, and then move to the next, which is the best experience as well in a UCSI. So dealing with the international multicultural thingy, right? So yeah, I think That's all for me. I think there's a lot also, right?
There's a very big variety of experiences. It sounds like I'm sure you carry all of that with you even in your practice now as well lah.
Yes.
And Nikki, how about you?
Okay, so hi, I'm Miss Nikki, also one of the counselor from Student Development and Counseling Department. So actually, I'm still very new for this career lah, not so much of experience like Miss Faha. But okay, so during my internship, actually I worked with the private setting also. And then at that time, after internship, I started work at the same place. Okay, I got the offer lah from that place, and then after that I just continue. And then I deal with mostly it's young adults lah, kids, young adults, and then with the parents also, because a lot of very like challenging issue from the young adults lah. Mostly it's like parenting issue. It's like cannot make a similar direction with their parents, so they have many arguments lah. So during that time, I feel like quite challenging, because counseling with children is not that easy, because they can't really can express themselves very well. So during that time, I learned how to do same play therapy, which is a therapy that very interesting also, without using any words or any sentences that you can speak with the children. You just play with the same play, the toys there, and then they can build up the inner world lah. So from that we can help to assess and then help to guide them to express what they are feeling. Yeah.
So even though you said just playing, but I think sand play actually exposes their inner thoughts, right? Even though they don't say it, but they are showing it, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like all three of us have quite different experiences before coming here. In schools, whether it's young people or children or older adults, it's like we have quite a variety of experience lah. So now coming to our episode today, we decided to talk about your inner critic isn't always right. So this is the topic, right? So you might be wondering, why did we choose this topic? So as we are growing up, I think especially when in our younger years, I think we have a lot of questions. I think we have a lot of questions about who we are, where we should be. We have a lot more doubts. I think we don't feel so confident in ourselves. So I think our inner critic this is the time where the inner critic is maybe shine in a bad way lah, shine the most, right? So that's why we were thinking that this is a topic that can be relatable to a lot of our students here as well. Some of you may also be going through this, so that's why we decided to talk about this today, because as mentioned earlier as well, there's a lot of common issues here in university that students may face, mental health, academic, career, intrapersonal, like all these things can all sort of relate to maybe how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive our outside world. So after all that, let's start with the most basic question first. What is inner critic? How would you define it? So maybe I'll give the honor to Miss Faha to start first.
Okay, when we talk about inner critic, right? Inner critic, the first that comes to in my thoughts is that negative comments about yourself. Like you always judge yourself. Like for example, you are not worth as a person. You are not confident. You are hopeless. You always compare yourself to others. That affected your mental health well-being. So I think that is the short that I will give what is inner critic lah. Maybe I can give Nikki to continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I think inner critics is a way that you judge yourself and then evaluate yourself lah. But this way is a bit harsh, and then a bit critical. Yeah, because inner critic, we can say inner critic or outer critic, Outer critic maybe will suffer others lah, and then inner critic maybe will suffer yourself. Yeah, so this is what I understand about inner critic.
So inner critic, it only affects your inside lah, but outside maybe it's maybe someone who likes to pick on someone, complain, like that lah. Okay. So I think it sounds like from both of your perspective, inner critic is inherently negative lah. right? Would you say that is negative?
Inner critic it can be both actually, like can lead to motivation and also can lead to depression.
Okay.
But if too much,
Yeah.
can lead to depression lah, anxiety, a lot of mental health issues. But then if you know your limit, like like okay, I think I'm not good enough, so from there you improve. So then it comes to a good thing lah,
Okay.
for you to improve.
So you're talking more about the impact of it, right? What do you do with the inner critic lah? But it
Yes.
sounds like the statements so far have been like you said, not good enough, or like I'm not there yet. Those are also quite, like harsh lah, right?
Yeah,
like you
harsh.
say as well. So I think to me, inner critic is sort of like automatic thoughts that sometimes pop up in our head. Based on maybe our past experiences or expectations. So for example, sometimes when we're growing up, we hear a lot of things, we pick up a lot of things from media, or is it from loved ones, or like outsiders. Maybe they'll be like, oh, you should be like this, or like you should have this, why are you not this yet? So all these things shape up into expectations. So I feel like those things contribute to sort of like this inner critic. So this inner critic is sort of like a warning, maybe like all the doubts that you have lah. So it sort of adds on into this kind of sort of like negative statements about ourselves. So why do you think we have this inner critic? Because it sounds so bad, right? Now so far we thought it's like, now we have this person that just like, oh, like, wow, you're not good. So why do you think we have it? Is it something that is already born in us, or do we learn over time to have it?
Okay, Nikki, what you want to answer first?
Okay. So so why inner critic will become like this? Because of, I think, our past experience and then our environment. So mostly it's parent, teacher, and then the people around you lah, like friends also. And then if parents, then we can know that because we are in Asian country, right? So our education is a bit like authoritarian, or like we can call it pressure education. So actually most of the time the parents, how they teach their children is like a bit not that encouraging lah for our age lah.
So
but
no
now
dialogue lah. It's like this. Is it?
Yeah,
You need to
like
do
this.
that. You need to do this.
Yeah. So it's a bit like like very directive to your children, and then this kind of situation will cause your children maybe like create a lot of inner critic, because they cannot really express their thoughts, their real thoughts, and then their real feelings to the parents and then to the friends also. So I think because of that lah.
Okay, so
I want to add on
experiences.
also.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so in counseling session, right, we implement a lot of theories, and most of the theories is talk about what happened in the past. Like for example, schema mode therapy. So schema mode therapy is that you are searching for what is it triggering you that cause, like for example, okay, you have inner critic, right? You have a lot of negative thoughts about you yourself. So we need to dig what happened in the past from your childhood. For example, since you are young, which is kindergarten, and then your primary school, and then secondary school, and then what happened in your university life. Do you have enough support system? Do you have enough love? Do you feel a sense of belong? This kind of thing, if you didn't get from the very young age, you will have a very bad inner critic to yourself, like very negative thoughts. So even in another one is psychoanalytic theory also, we tend to ask the patient or the client what happened in the past that caused you to feel this way, that caused you to behave this way. So this is very, very important. So that's why I believe that inner critic is like the analogy is like the inner voices that inside you that you collect from experiences of or the journey of your life.
Yeah,
So this is what I believe.
Yeah, because inner critic also one of the way that you do self-talk, right? So how you learn self-talk? You learn from your parents, you learn from the teacher, the surrounding, right? So the way they talk to you is a way that you create self-talk. Yeah.
Yes.
I think also because when we're younger, maybe we haven't developed our own voice. So of course we will look to other people lah and see, we start to absorb what people say also, right?
And also I want to add lah.
Of course.
I think I don't want to blame like 100% on the parents lah, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, parents is also experience the first time being parents.
And
So
they're human
sometimes
also, of course.
sometimes they make mistakes.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't know like what is the right thing to do. When my first child, right? Like my first child, I feel like before I've got this first child, Dia. So I feel like parenting is very easy, like I think I can do that because I have the knowledge, I have the information. But then when you experience, sometimes it's very hard for you also to control your emotions. Because sometimes you feel very tired after work, right? Sometimes you have argument with your partner, that affected also. So sometimes you want to control, but it's like, it's like very, what we call that, like fighting in your head.
Yeah. Right. I think that's a very good reminder also. It's like when we are trying to trace back how the inner critic start, we don't want it to be like blaming like, like parents, like this is your main responsibility, is only because of you, because parents are also human lah. Right? You're human as well. So I think that's why the support system of the child also, that plays a lot into it, because the support system is not only the parents, it's also their friends, also the relatives and all this, and what they consume, maybe what they see on media and everything. So all these makes up a child and their experiences. And I think also, but thank you for sharing and being vulnerable also about your experience with parenting. I do think that inner critic is something that we learn over time also. I don't think we are born with it lah. I think we sort of like along the way we pick up all the different expectations and maybe what we want of ourselves or what we want based on what others think that we should have. It's a very weird thing, right? It's like suddenly you'll be convinced by what others say lah. And so expectations, so for example, maybe in our families, maybe friends or what, they will say, you should be a doctor, you should be lawyer, you should be engineer. This one is the Asian victory, okay?
Yeah.
The best. So if you don't become, then how? So it's like sometimes we are not prepared for what happens when we don't become the thing that people ask us to be, or it becomes also our own expectation, right? So not only career, maybe like beauty standard also, maybe it's like I want to fit in with my classmates, I want to fit in with my peers. So you might be like, I want to get this cool thing, they all got this Tamagotchi, I also want, or like they wear all these nice jeans, I also want, like it's the kind of all these expectations that can make up a person. So now that we've talked about growing up so do you think, how does early childhood experience shape the voice of the inner critic? Is there any more points on that in terms of early childhood experience? Because we've talked about parenting, but maybe the experience of when the child is growing up. What do you think?
I think based on the
Go first.
You can go first.
Okay, so basically we have 4 parenting style lah, like authoritarian, authoritative, and then permissive, and then the last one is neglectful. So what is authoritarian? Authoritarian is the parent is like more powerful. They control their they control their children lah, means, okay? They control their children and then they make a decision for their children and then they want their children to follow them. Okay, so this is authoritarian. Okay, and then the second is permissive. Permissive is I just follow my children, anything they want. Yeah, this is permissive.
Is it too much free will, you think?
Yeah,
freedom,
very too.
Can be very spoiled child, right?
Yeah, very spoiled child.
Okay,
It's the result lah.
Result.
Okay. So neglectful is the parents don't care about their children's feelings. They think that feelings is not important, emotion is not important. The important things is outcome. So when the children like ask for help, like mama, papa, I feel like very tired lah or anything, and then the parents will say, why you like that? Why you feel like that? You need to be strong, So this one is called neglectful. So the last one is the most healthy one, is authoritative. Authoritative is a way that parents treat their children is like more supportive and then encouraging. So add
on, I think with a very reasonable rules.
Yeah. That's correct.
With a reasonable rule, because the authoritative one, they don't have rules, right? They are like 2 rules. like too much rules.
Authoritarian.
This one
Authoritarian.
authoritative, like reasonable rules. So
Yes.
they explain lah why I not allowing you to do this because
Yeah.
of this.
More on love education lah, authoritative.
Okay,
Yes.
so authoritative is like, how to say, there is more there's direction, but also allows like a conversation. It's not just like I tell you what to do and then that's it. Like you don't question me, not like that. That one is more authoritative, right?
Okay, I want to ask one question. Like, right, what do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
Nowadays they use gentle parenting. So which one is it? On the authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, or neglectful?
I think gentle parenting is authoritative lah, because they treat the children gently and then listening. Like
What is your definition of gentle parenting?
Yeah.
Okay, I think most of the parents out there is like how to say misunderstanding about gentle parenting. Like most of them think that gentle parenting is like
No scolding, is it?
permissive. Like let them choose, let them do it, let them do anything that they want without set a reasonable boundaries or rules. So here I want to like make a like more understanding statement is that gentle parenting is authoritative, which is you set reasonable boundaries, rules and regulation with love and support. That is gentle parenting. Like for example, okay, I don't want to eat with my right hands, for example. Okay. So if you are gentle parenting, you feel like you are gentle parenting, but then you do is permissive, which is you just allow it's okay lah, as long as this kid eat, so no worries, But then actually, if you are gentle parenting and follow the authoritative, actually you must have the boundaries, meaning you need to use your right hands to eat, like the what we call that, more adab, more what we call, what is adab in English?
Manners.
More manners, yes. More manners,
yeah,
yes.
Correct.
A good manners lah, meaning you teach your child a good manners. So yeah,
I think that's very good that you clarified, because when you asked us now what is gentle parenting, I was like, is this a trick question? Are you trying to trick? Because how to say, I think I also understand that there is a misconception lah, right? Gentle parenting, maybe people feel like they don't want to hurt the child, so they are like, okay,
allowing everything.
It's like, okay lah, like fine, like at least you eat. It's like they are more thinking like that. They are not thinking about so much the process of the discipline of it. And I think also because nowadays there's a lot of conflict about discipline lah, right? Like how do you practice discipline, or like how do you discipline your child? So I think that's a very good insight that, like, I think parenting, we talked about the parenting style, so that shapes up a childhood's experience, right? So what do you think is the purpose of this inner critic? Because, okay, I'll start first lah, give you all a break. So I think that the purpose of the inner critic is actually, it disguises itself as protection. The reason why I say this is because the inner critic is often things about like, oh, whether I'm good enough and things like that, right? So it disguises itself as protection, because when you do something and then if it doesn't work out, then you're like, oh, but I already thought that I wasn't going to be good at it ma. So it, in a way, it serves as a protection, but actually it also holds you back lah. It keeps you stuck because you think that, oh, I am like this because I already know that I cannot do. So I knew from the start, so nothing lah, no disappointment, no hurt. It's just like that lah. Like I knew it all along. It's my insecurity. I think it's the voices of our self-doubt. That's why I feel like the inner critic is there. But of course we will talk further lah, because there may be other parts of inner critic as to how we use it, and then that's how they can define whether it's good for us or not. But what do you think is the purpose of the inner critic?
I think, to be honest, I think same as you, which is protection, self-defense. Okay, I give you one example. Inner critic can be a comparison like you and your friends. Okay, for example, okay, that okay, my friends have a very high scores in this subject, okay, like for example science subject, and then you start to compare, oh my god, I'm not good enough, I need to like you question a lot to yourself, like how I'm going to improve myself and be better or align with your friends, right? So from there is like you self-critic. So there's a lot of things that going on your mind, like I'm not good enough, like but what I need to do, right? From there is like you are preparing yourself also in a good way lah, to be better, to protect yourself, to not fail again, or not to have this kind of grade again in the future because you want to be better. So this is what I thought lah.
Yeah, actually I agree with you lah. Like inner critic is the how we can say it's like
Like the doubts,
protective lah, yeah, defensive lah, yeah, defense yourself lah. And then another thing is actually I also do some inner critic lah. Like when I did something like exam lah during my previous school time, and then I did my exam, and then I feel like, oh, my exam is not that good, and then I will say like, oh, why you so stupid lah? This kind of question so easy, you also can wrong. You know? So this is inner critic also. But after I did this one, because I want to motivate myself. Yeah. So not only like defensive, only like another thing is for motivation also. Yeah. But this is a harsh way to motivate yourself. Like actually you can use another way, but during that time don't know counseling anything lah. Like kosong je. Yeah. So during that time I just did like inner critic lah. Why this one is like so easy? Why you don't know? Next time you need to know like that. Yeah.
I think that's a good point also, because how to say, it's very easy to be not nice to ourselves. But when we want to be kind to ourselves, it feels very weird. Like for example, if let's say people give compliments, right, we tend to not believe it so much. We tend to believe the negative criticism more.
Yes.
So that's why that's why for some people, they, like you say, like they learn to use it as a motivation. They're like, okay, like very bad, but you turn it around and say you use it for good. But if we use it for bad, then that's a totally different.
I think there's some person who need like very high criticism towards themselves to get the motivation. Like for example, the weight loss. Right? Like for example, you critique yourself. Okay, because I broke up with my partner is because I'm so fat. So I need to do something about it. So you start to eat healthy, you do exercise, something like that. So
you feel like
can change also lah.
Okay, so there's a there's a positive outcome at the end, but I guess not everybody is used to the harsh criticism, right?
True.
But very
small dose is okay.
Okay, so the keyword balance. The keyword is balance, right?
Balance.
So like how we use it lah, So I think since now we've also talked about like how we use it. So how do you know whether it's a healthy self-reflection? That means that it's good for us, or whether it's harmful. So to me, it's like this. If let's say it's a healthy criticism, it's something that will help you to move forward. That means that, for example, let's say I do my exam, okay, not good. But then I move forward because I'm thinking, okay, I didn't do well now, but I can do better. So it helps me to go forward. So I think healthy in that sense. But it's harmful if let's say I'm stuck there. Like, oh, I was very bad here, then I will be bad again, and I don't think I will ever be good. Then it keeps you stuck there. So I think that's the difference. Whether we can tell whether the inner critic is a good, can be helpful or harmful. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, like from my side, right? Okay. From my side, you need to understand the definition of mental health. Healthy mind. What is a healthy mind? Healthy mind is that I believe that for your life, right, you need to have challenges.
Yes.
A lot of difficulties, so that helps you growth. But then when you see that difficulties or challenges and like very, like it's very hard for you to take it, and your inner critic comes on that time, right? And then it's affected your daily function. Like for example, sleep pattern, appetite. You become more isolate. You isolate yourself. You run away from the problem. So when it's affected your daily function, then you know this is not right. This is bad. This is very harmful to yourself.
Correct.
Yeah. So like I mentioned just now, small dose is okay, but big dose is harmful already, because you will follow what you're like really inner critic yourself, like I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, why I cannot pass these things lah, and then blah 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 like that. So after a long time, you will look down yourself also. Nobody look down on you. You the one look down on yourself. So this one become a big dose will be like effective in your daily life, like what you say. You will really believe that you are not good enough. Yeah. So that's why I say like small dose is okay. Yeah. Big dose is not okay.
Too much.
Yeah. Too much. Yes.
Right. Because I think, but we also have to be careful, because for some people maybe it start with small dose and then it will snowball become big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
understand.
how do we find that balance? I guess that's something also maybe that's something you all can talk about also,
I
like
think early warning signs lah.
Early warning
that you
sign.
need to aware of it. Like just now I said, daily function started to affect it, right? Started to affect lah. Like you can sleep, you cannot sleep. Always like a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of harmful thoughts. That at some point, if you consistently having this kind of negative thoughts, will harm your physical health.
yes.
Yes.
You also not look good. You know, we can tell. You can tell or not. When your client come to your session, either is like the facial expression is like, oh, this one is like very
down,
very down. You know,
Yeah. Not that confident.
not confident. You know, in terms of the eyes like dark, right?
So it changes the entire worldview, like, because at first it's just a thought, but then after that you start to think badly about yourself, and then it shapes how you look at other people, and then how you look at yourself lah. And then after that you start to maybe neglect, like you say lah, physical health and all these
Don't want to
things, right?
eat.
Yeah.
Don't want to meet friends. Don't want to talk to anyone. Don't want to come to work. And then at some point, you already think, I want to absent.
Right.
I don't want to go to work. For example, I don't want to go to class. Feel like everything is like very negative, very dark.
So
Something like that.
it sounds like, so that's how we can tell whether it becomes like harmful, and then when it's something that in small doses lah, right? So it sounds like you're saying that it can also be something of a motivator. It sounds like even though it's small, so in small doses, inner critic can be a motivator. What do you think of this statement?
What do you think,
Can it
Nikki?
be a motivator? Yes? No?
Actually, motivator can be a lot. Like, okay, so not only inner critic. So I think should be like replace another one like inner encouraging. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds critic, but actually the reason that you make this one is because of you want to encourage yourself. Yeah, you want to support yourself.
Self-encouragement.
Yeah, self-encouragement. So I think if better change inner critic become like inner encouraging.
Self-compassion?
Yeah, self-compassion.
Yeah, self-compassion.
Self-kindness,
Okay.
Self-compassion,
So
yeah.
you're saying there's a better way lah.
Yeah, better
there's
way.
a better way to go about
Yeah,
things.
treat yourself better, please.
Treat yourself kindly. Yeah, nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
right? So I guess like everything so far we've talked about, like, you know, how inner critic comes about. We also talk about what can influence an inner critic, how does it grow. So how do you think that, now talk about society lah, how does the society pressure affect our inner critic? So for me lah, let's start also. I think again it comes down to what is maybe the term normal. So maybe they'll say, okay, you normally should earn by this age, you should normally be doing this by this age, you should be for example, whether you're single, whether you're married, you know, like all these things are all expectations from society lah, right? So all these can also be on, you know, like for example, social media, comparison. I think all this sort of like contributes to societal pressure lah. Whether we take it or not, it's very hard to say, because sometimes when it hits us when we are very down, then we'll feel more like, oh, I should listen, or maybe I should do something about it. But when you're not so down, then maybe you might feel a bit more like, you know, you're more secure in your identity. So do you think that a secure identity can help to manage your inner critic?
I think yes, when you have a high self-esteem, high confident level that you know yourself, you know your weaknesses, you know your strength. From there you can manage your own inner critic. So this is what I
Agree? Nikki, anything
I agree also. Yes.
So having a strong identity. So maybe that's something that we also can talk about next time lah. About how do we build a strong identity, right?
Resilience, I think
Who knows?
resilience.
Hint for next time. So okay, now we move to. Okay, now we talk about inner critic already. So how do we deal with it? If let's say we know, let's say like our client says that okay, I constantly have this in my head, always like telling me I'm not good and things like that. What is the first step that they can take to challenge it? Should they challenge it at all?
Okay, if like too much, right, that affected your sleep pattern, for example. So the first step that you need to take is you need to aware.
Yes.
Is your thoughts is harmful or it's helpful?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
First step.
At the end of the day, based on the emotional intelligence, there are pyramid emotional intelligence. The baseline, the foundation, the baseline is that self-awareness.
Yes.
Okay. So from the first self-aware, you can manage better. So that's why I said self-aware first. And then you can start with the journaling lah, right? Right.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
I say that also.
Yes.
Write everything,
Correct.
every thoughts that you have,
Yeah.
Correct.
write it down. Because it's like imagine this analogy. I always use this analogy to my patient, to my client. Inside your mind, there's a lot of drawers. Okay. So a lot of drawers. But okay, for example, I just limit to 50 drawers. Okay. So every drawers have their own what you call there's a specific thing like this one for studies, this one for families, this one for okay. So imagine that inside your head everything is messed up. Like the papers inside your brain is like everywhere. So you feel miserable, right? So of course you need to take out every single paper, like susun one by one, okay, and then write it down. What is the thoughts that sometimes it can be one paper, one statement. So imagine one paper, one statement, but you say it so many times. So there's a lot, like 20 papers, the same thing. So it makes your brain more miserable. So that's why you need to like list out every single things that you have. So from there you can manage well. Okay, the first thoughts, why I say like this to myself. So meaning you start to question yourself, self-reflect.
Yes.
And after that you need to use a healthy coping strategy lah, of course. Exercising, go out with your friends, go karaoke, go eat, go get shower, go vacation, Yeah.
It sounds like, how to say, you gave the example about the same papers and then the same thing on many papers.
Yes. So it's like everywhere in your head,
Correct.
for example.
So it can also be, because it's in our head, it can keep on repeating the same thing lah, right? So that's why also you're saying to put it out. I think me and Nikki were also agreeing that journaling is a good way, right? So Nikki, you want to add any points about?
So for my part, I will ask the client first is aware also, and then the second is recognize what is your negative thoughts now, and then write it down. After that, then you need to write down another way, healthy thoughts. So this way you can like compare. Why I should take this one? Actually, I can take the better one. Why
Like reframe to a
reframe.
better one, to more positive one, right?
So after that, then he can try to practice the more better one, healthy one. So after this, he practice. So after this, the unconsciously, the first thoughts coming is the positive thoughts. No more negative thoughts.
So for yours, it's more like challenging it, right? You're saying that, why am I saying like this? For Nikki's one, it's more like, here's a better way.
Reframing.
That you can think.
Reframing.
So there's two different ways, right?
I think I want to add on another one.
Of course. Yes.
Okay, in cognitive behavioral therapy, there's what we call this cognitive restructuring.
Yes.
Okay, there's 6 negative thinking pattern. So I always give a homework to my client, to my patient, right? So what is 6 negative thinking pattern? Personalizing, all or nothing thinking, negative focus, jumping to conclusion. Another one is awfulizing and living by fixed rules. So from there, from this personalizing is that you always blame yourself. Okay, and then the second one, all or nothing thinking. You always think like black and white. So whoever is enter university, you are success person. Whoever is not entering the university, you are a bad person.
Yeah.
That is a all or nothing thinking. Negative focus is that you always tend to
On the negative
focus
part.
on the negative, even though you realize that you have the strength, but you always focus on the weaknesses part. Okay, jumping to conclusion, of course, they always tend to
Assume lah.
assume,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
assume like what is the worst thing that could happen. And then awfulizing also like exaggerating things that happen lah. And then the last one, living by fixed rules, is that every sentences you always put must. I must achieve this, I must do that, I must become like this, for example, like have a must, like rigid rules to yourself. So from there, actually, I will ask my client to, okay, whenever you have the thoughts, right, try to match which is the which pattern that you have. Mostly it's like personalizing. You always blame yourself. Okay, from there we challenge. There's a technique in the counseling session lah.
Those 6 examples you gave is sort of like Socratic question, is it? Socratic thinking or questions? I think.
Socratic is Socratic is like you chat. Socratic is what I understand. Socratic questioning is that when you answer a certain questions that can give insight to the client. So this is also the technique the counselling use in the session to gain the insight from the client lah. Like for example, do you think if you have this, for example, Socratic question is that, do you think when you have this kind of thoughts, it's going to help you in a runway?
That one is the okay after identifying lah. Okay, understand.
So you tend to like, there's a okay.
Right. It gives them a different
Insight
perspective lah. Right. But I think also since we started also about what's it called, theory or like sort of exercise, is there any techniques like other than what you've said or anything Nikki you want to add that you use to help maybe clients to help reframe or address their inner critic? Any other techniques aside from what Farha has shared?
I think first is journaling lah. Journaling is very obvious one. You can just like directly can see what you write down. Is it good for you? Is it not good for you? Okay. And then the second, I think
You use CBT, right?
Yeah, I use
Cognitive
CBT.
behavioral therapy. So meaning it's like more on thinking.
More on thinking, yeah.
So I think this is the theory that most of counselors use to
Basically.
challenge the thoughts, challenge the negative thoughts. And I think another one is schema mode therapy lah. Schema mode therapy is like you are exploring what happened in the past, right? So from there, you bring the person to the present. Then you explore from there, and then better manage better coping, like how you going to be an healthy adult, not vulnerable or angry child mode, something like that.
So schema mode is like it also gives you insight into the past, right? So I think just to expand on, since we talk about cognitive behavioral therapy, so cognitive behavioral therapy is sort of like showing that your thoughts, emotions and behaviors are all linked together.
Yes.
I would call it it's more forward facing therapy because it's more focused on your present and then how you can move forward.
Yes.
So like for example, let's say you notice, okay, all your thoughts. So for example, let's say your thought is that I'm going to fail this exam. So your emotion is going to be, I don't want to go for this exam. Like I don't feel like it. I feel unmotivated. I don't feel sad. I feel angry. And then your behavior is you don't go lah, right? So
Yes.
it shows sort of the connection. So I think therapeutic technique that will help, this is a exercise that I usually like to use lah. It's called a reality comparison exercise. It's from reality therapy lah. So there's 4 part lah. So it's the wants, doing, evaluation and planning. So the one first is like, okay, what is the thoughts that you have lah in that moment? Is it like, what are you saying that you want to do? And then so you put that all down first, And then from there, you can start to see whether is it really your own voice, your own wants, or is it from other people lah. Then it can go on to doing. Okay, if let's say I really want this, what can I do about it? You know, like to move forward, like towards the goal, closer to the goal lah. So can I do things now? Can I do it later? You know, like so you can start to balance that also. Evaluation, maybe how realistic is my timeline lor. Like let's say if let's say I want to learn a language, I cannot expect myself to be fluent in one semester. You know, maybe it takes some time for me to learn longer, to be more fluent and more confident. And then planning is how do I get the goal. So the reason why I like this concept is because it helps us to not just, you know, stuck in our thoughts. It actually puts action to the thought, and it helps us to move forward lah. So that's the exercise that I would add to that lah. Do you think that after everything that we talked about, is the goal here to silence the inner critic completely, or to have a healthier relationship with it?
I think from my perspective, right, as you said, the definition of inner critic is like automatic negative thoughts. So meaning everyone have these automatic negative thoughts every day, every single seconds, every single experiences. So I believe that you cannot shut down this inner critic. It is about how you're going to manage your inner critic to become to be part of your motivation for your growth.
Yeah, for me also, not really you can like silence the inner critic, because I think better that you can build a healthy relationship with inner critic. Yeah.
I also agree with that. I think I don't need to say much, I agree. So I guess also like, because building healthy relationship, so we want to address this inner critic, right? So how do we know whether we are treating ourselves like, is it self-compassion or is it self-indulgence? So this one is also, I think, about a question of balance again lah. How do you know? So my perspective lah, okay, let's just share also. So for compassion is more like, I think you are trying to treat yourself kinder. You're a bit more like, okay, like let's take our time with it. We can be more we look at the reality of the situation and see what I can do. But I think self-indulgence implies that it's an extreme level of, it's like very extreme lah. What do you think about this?
What do you think, Nikki?
Okay, so self-indulgence, I would think like in Chinese we call 躺平. Like in English is lie down.
Lie
Just
down.
whenever you encounter what situation, you just lie down.
Okay.
Just don't care anything, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I think self-indulgence is a behavior that you maybe put yourself in a danger place, because you treat anything like, I don't care, it's okay to be there, just let it be like that. So the things were still there. It's not solved by yourself, and then your ability, all the things, your skill will not like build up when you encounter this situation. But self-compassion is the things that you treat yourself kind, even though you know you are in difficult situation or in difficult time, but you treat yourself kind and say like, okay, so now I know it's a difficult time to pass through of it, but I can do better, I can do myself. So this, I think, what is self-compassion and then self-indulgence lah.
Okay. So from my point of view, right, I have a different perspective about self-indulgence, the meaning of self-indulgence itself lah. So, okay, you compare yourself, right? Self-care, which is self-compassion, okay, and self-indulgence. So, I give you one example. Exercise is self-care or self-compassion. When you cope with, so meaning when you cope with exercise, it become self-care and also self-compassion. When you doing sleep, okay, like sleep, it can cause, or eating lah, for example, eating something sweet for you to cope, that is we call self-indulgence. Meaning self-indulgence is that when you do this kind of coping mechanism for a long run, that can affect your body. This is what I understand lah, self-indulgence. So meaning self-indulgence can be a very good for yourself for a very short term, But when you do it for the long term, it can be damaging your body, your mind.
Understand? So you're talking about the impact of it is the difference between self-compassion and indulgence.
Self-indulgence, yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of the coping lah, so meaning you need to choose. So whenever you have a coping mechanism, right, a self-care also, so you need to choose. You need to think that if I do this for a very long run, is it going to damage my body, my mind or not? So if damaging, then it's self-indulgence. So you need to do something is very consistency and very healthy for your body and mind.
Correct. Yes, again, all about balance. Balance. Keyword balance, right? So I guess, so now we've talked about this already. We talked about inner critic. We talked about what we can do to treat ourselves kinder. Is there any maybe client experience that you had where you felt like they hold on to their inner critic because they feel that if I don't have this, then I cannot be successful? Have you ever experienced something like that? Or maybe just any experience where a client deals with a very strong inner critic? If anything, you guys want to share?
Yes. Some clients comes to me and then they say they got a lot of inner critic lah. We call actually in the session I don't call it like inner critic. I call it like self-blaming.
Okay.
You know,
yes.
actually it's like quite similar sometimes, like self-blaming. Sometimes they are like the unconscious mind come to their mind is like the first thing is negative thoughts. So how they treat themselves lah.
Okay.
So they will start to blaming themselves. Like, okay, I'm not good. Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect to be the partner of my girlfriend or boyfriend lah. Yeah. So that's why I have a lot of this kind of clients. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes it's normal for client to have this kind of thoughts because they are growing now. This is the period for them to growing and then for them to identify their identity.
Yes.
So sometimes like self-doubt or self-questioning is normal, but the way that you treat yourself is like harsh. Yeah, harsh. So I always keep asking them like, do you think it's a good way to treat yourself for a long run? And then they will say, yeah, I know it's unhealthy, but most of the time, yeah, I treat myself is in this way. So this affected them like become very down lah. This is the reason why they come to counseling session because they already cannot deal with it. Yeah. So okay, so during that time I also want to add on one more techniques lah for them. Why not you treat yourself like you treat with your friends? Will you tell your friend like you are stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yes.
Yeah. So you can
Understand?
treat yourself better like a friend. Yeah. So you can ask yourself this question: would you treat your friend in the way like you treat yourself? Yeah. If not, then treat yourself better.
Very good.
Give
Okay.
different perspective. Yes. It puts the person like you to see from an outside point of
from
view,
outside
right?
point. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything to add to that?
I think I have a lot of patients that, especially who get diagnosed with depression disorder, right? Major depressive disorder, which is they tend to have a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of self-criticism, a lot of self-blaming as well. So because of that, and because of what? They are living in the past. So, okay, I want to give you this one simple formula. When you're living in the past, you will can lead to depression. When you live in the future, you tend to get anxiety.
Anxious, yes.
When you're living in the present, you get stressed. So this one is normal. So that's why at the end of the day, when you have a lot of thoughts that comes from your past, then you need to reflect and go for the therapy session, of course. Because at the end of the day, if like too much, you need to seek for the professional help.
Understand?
Yeah.
So I think thank you for sharing about your experiences. It sounds like it's quite common lah, these issues, right? Like dealing with our inner critic. And I think also you made a good point, Nikki, because when we are growing up, I think that's the time when we are a bit more like shaky, more impressionable, and then we are still trying to find and build our identity, right? So now let's move to the next segment actually. So I'll have a very short game segment. it's a short game segment. So it's yes, maybe, and no. So
Okay.
these are your pedals. Okay.
Very cute.
So due to time constraint, we'll do quick yes, maybe, no. But if you want to explain your answer in one sentence, then okay. Okay.
Okay.
So for the first scenario, if I'm not hard on myself, I'll get lazy.
yeah, not hard on myself. No.
I also think no.
No.
Okay. Everything to end. No.
You can
Okay.
relax sometimes.
Yes. And then, okay, should we move to the next question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Everyone's inner critic gets louder under stress.
Yes.
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 I also think so. Okay. And then, I think this one understood lah. And then, clients usually underestimate how much their inner critic affects their relationships.
Yes.
Say yes. I think it plays a very big role actually in how we interact lah. Okay. The inner critic can sometimes disguise itself as rational thinking. I think yes, because how to say, inner critic can disguise maybe as logic.
Okay.
It seems logical. It's like, oh, of course I should think like that. So I think to me it's yes lah, but maybe to you all it's different.
Again, the question is
inner
inner
critic
critic,
can disguise itself as rational thinking.
rational thinking.
So logic lah.
I think maybe like
Yeah.
yes or no lah.
okay. I will say
Because,
yes. Why or maybe?
Because there's some situation sometimes it can be
Yeah, for me, I feel like
rational, can be irrational as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
different perspective. So when people achieve success, their inner critic gets louder.
Chief success.
Maybe lah.
Mine is
Some
maybe.
Yeah, me
yes,
too.
some not right.
Yeah, some yes, some not. Like depends on the confidence lah.
Betul?
Yeah, self-esteem, confidence level. Yeah.
Correct. And also maybe like for some people maybe they'll become more like I need to chase more. You know? So it
Yeah.
depends on how it affects the person, right?
Yes.
And then okay, this one I think we all know the answer. This one, therapists also struggle with their inner critic. Yes, we are very human. We are not perfect.
Yeah,
so
we are
yeah,
human.
that also happens. People who are self-critical are more self-aware. This one to me,
More self-aware.
More self-aware.
Can be self-aware, can sometimes like not aware
Yeah.
of their thoughts also lah,
I
right?
would say no. I
We
think.
say no lah.
Maybe yeah.
No.
Yes
Okay.
or no?
Maybe good. I think maybe lah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, maybe. You should never let your inner critic influence your decision.
Yes.
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 Yes, I also think so. Because
Yeah.
maybe in that moment, like how do you know whether it's really objective or not lah? Maybe it's actually
Rational or not, right?
yeah.
Voice mine or not.
So I would say yes. So in conclusion, to wrap up today's session, maybe what is your takeaway message? Because I'm sure this is quite a long podcast so far. So what is one message that you hope people can take away? Should I start first or?
You can start first.
Start first lah. Give you time to think. Okay. Okay. So I think with inner critic, so first of all, it's normal lah. All of us have it. Even people that you think who are professionals, we also have our own inner critic also. It's very normal. But it's just a matter of how we manage it lah. How we manage our thoughts. How do we manage all these expectations? Whether we can reflect on ourselves and who we want to be. And I think as we are growing up, we are still growing. We are still trying to find our identity and who we are. So of course there are some days where we feel down, we feel defeated. But it's not the end lah. It's like it's something that we will keep continuing and learning to grow. And also remember Coke can analogy. This is my favorite analogy. Is that if let's say you shake a Coke can, you shake, and then when you open it will burst, right? Why? Because everything is stuck inside there. Everything is trapped inside there. It's just you and your thoughts. So I often use this analogy to remind people that you have to speak it out or like get it out somehow. So journaling your thoughts, or like talking to a professional, or talking to your friends, at least you are sharing it out somewhere. So I hope you remember to also rely on your support system lah. So that's my takeaway message for Miss Farhan, Miss Nikki.
Okay. Mine is that inner critic can be good and bad. Manage it better.
Okay, very good. Short and sweet.
Okay, so for me, I think treat yourself better, treat yourself with like a friend lah. Yeah. Okay, and then one more, my tagline, it's okay not to be okay.
Yes. If you see the poster, you know that's her tagline, right? So again, thank you everyone for your attention. Thank you, of course, to my guests, Farha, Nikki, and also I'm Miss Win. We are from the Student Development and Counselling Department here at UCSI. So we have, we offer counselling, consultation, group counselling, and also any psychological assessment. So if you feel like you want to talk to any one of us, you can reach out to us through email, or you can see in your faculties, you'll see some posters about scanning the QR to book a session. So yeah, we'll see you around. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to the media team as well. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.